Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Occult Think Tank. My name is Greg. In this program, I am going to be giving 3 examples of Christian stupidity at its finest. This first one, all of these are from videos that I've done in my comment section. This first one, for the podcast listeners, says, "You have certainly bought into the lie, not realizing that Satan has deceived you too. He, that is the devil, knowing that his time is short, desperately wants to take you with him into that place of everlasting torment. God help you." This is typical. This is typical scare tactic Christian bullshit. The thing is, there is no evidence to support the existence of a God or a Satan. Although for those watching on video, you will see the gif of Lucifer's devil face. I do enjoy that TV show, although I wasn't sure I would when I first watched it. But after the first episode, I was hooked. What I do feel is more likely than a God or a Satan is what would be termed multidimensional beings or fourth dimensional, higher dimensional beings. Science has said that with string theory to work, there have to be 10 dimensions. I'm open to the possibility of higher dimensions, and I do recognize that the human eyes and human senses are limited in what we can perceive. It is very probable that we cannot perceive things beyond the 3rd dimension, except in computer simulations. One thing that I will have showing in the video is a four-dimensional object that is done with computers in order to show what something could theoretically look like with 4 dimensions. And what it does make me think of is the image that I've seen of the idea of the human form with an aura around it, or an energy field around it. It's possible. I can't rule out that possibility. But I'm very big on evidence. And until there is evidence concrete, I wouldn't say I firmly believe it, only that at most I suspect. The thing is, that's not what Christians are doing. They're trying to use scare tactics in order to coerce and manipulate people into buying into their bullshit. The lie that this person is talking about was, from what I have showed in other videos, where in the Genesis account of the original sin story, the character that lied was the God, not the talking snake. Now, I get Christians want to insert their devil into that. That is not the devil. The Hebrew word is not Satan. It is the Hebrew word for a snake. So what we have in that story is a talking snake. And the idea of talking animals, for as bizarre as that is, it is not the only occurrence in the Bible. Actually, the first occurrence of the figure of Satan in the Bible comes from another instance where there was a talking animal, and that was Balaam and the donkey. However, the idea of the original sin, that story, the one that lied was the God. Because he's the one that said, "In the day you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt surely die." They didn't die in that day. And the word die is the same Hebrew word as is in Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 21, where it had said in verse 20 that the sins of the father are not passed on to the son, but if the wicked will turn from their sins and do what is lawful and right, they shall surely live, they shall not die. Which one could also contend is a second lie, because just because you obey the law and you aren't an asshole does not mean you're going to live forever. And even if you look at the Christian bullshit, if you obey the law and do what is right, it doesn't mean that you're going to, by their standard, live forever either. To their way of thinking, unless you buy into what they're trying to pitch, you're going to be tortured forever in some hell, regardless of how you are in life. Which really means there's no point in being good in Christianity if you're not going to be going to this heaven. It's counterproductive. But the second one, this one came from BitChute. And that is more freedom of speech based as far as a platform, but it is also far more religious wacko over there. But this says, occult think tank. Isn't that a religion, the occult? No. This is the type of stupid that I typically get from the uneducated Christians. But before I go into debunking that, takes faith to believe in anything. No, it does not. What it takes in order to believe in something is evidence. Go ahead and explain to me how you know anything. Evidence. And they go, reality. And then laugh my ass off. Quantum physics, laugh my ass off. They do not understand quantum physics, as I will get into. But there is the aspect of the occult. It does seem that their idea of the occult is dealing with what would be the working definition of the occult, that I had found this, and this is the one that is too woo-woo for me, even though it starts out along the lines of what seemingly would be what I would go along with, but I question the aspect of the occult is a body of science. I would need evidence of that. But it goes on to say, which is not widely known to the general population, consisting of hidden knowledge about the workings of the human psyche and the laws of nature, both seen in physical laws and unseen in spiritual laws. It's the spiritual laws that's too woo-woo for me, because I don't see any evidence of what would be termed spiritual laws. But the only aspect of that does seem accurate is the idea of hidden knowledge. But there is another one that is accurate in number one, but the others get into woo-woo. The word occult comes from the word occultus. It carries the idea of things hidden human powers that go beyond the five senses. I would need evidence to support that there are human powers beyond the five senses. Number 3, the occult deals with the supernatural, the presence of angelic or demonic forces. Again, I would need evidence of the presence of angelic or demonic forces. The idea of the supernatural, that is something that is talked about. It is something that I would be willing to talk about in programs and even entertain with a guest and try to scurry down that rabbit hole. However, it's not something that I would be saying, yes, this is demonstrably true, unless there is evidence to support it. The third is what I consider the actual definition, and that is occult comes from the French word occultic, or the Latin term occultus, meaning hidden or concealed, or even you could even say secret. Secret, not divulged. Things like that, yes. That is what we're dealing with. But then they go on to say, might want to study Buddhism a little more. Plenty of death, murder, and mayhem in its history. Actually, this person doesn't know Buddhism very well to make such a statement, because I did find a few quotes like this from the Dalai Lama. We cannot hope to die peacefully if our lives have been full of violence, or if our minds have been aligned by emotions like anger, attachment, or fear. So if we wish to die well, we must learn to live well. Hoping for a peaceful death, we must cultivate peace in our mind and in our way of life. I have a lot of respect for the Dalai Lama, largely because there was one point he was asked about, would a Buddhist accept something from science? And he had said, if something is proven in science that would conflict with a tenet of Buddhism, basically that he would have to concede to science, which was something that I found shocking coming from any type of religious leader. However, Buddhism is not as much a religion as it is a philosophy. That is the big difference with Buddhism and the other religions. Another quote from the Dalai Lama is, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Again, I fully agree with him. This quote is one I really feel is the most pertinent to the subject dealing with Christians. Our prime purpose in this life is to help others. If you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. That goes in stark contrast to the ignorant type of crap that was spouted in this post of plenty of death, murder, and mayhem in its history. Actually, there's not. Buddhists are not known for killing people. In fact, one thing I had heard about regarding Buddhists was there were cases of Buddhists setting themselves on fire because basically they would not hurt others. They would hurt themselves, but they would not hurt others. But they go on to say in this, Your faith in creation is an extreme stretch, and denial of a creator, good luck. Something came from nothing? Wait, huh? This shows they do not understand, because in science, what people and Christians think of as nothing is not what scientists mean, especially quantum physicists, when they say nothing. That there was nothing in the universe, and then the singularity was the Big Bang. It's not that there was absolute nothing, but rather what we had was the idea of quantum potential or quantum fluctuations. There's no way for me to describe what is seen in the video for my podcast listeners, but the idea that in quantum physics, on the quantum level, what we call nothing is not absolute nothing. Matter on the quantum level apparently pops in and out of existence seemingly randomly. We do not understand why or how this happens, but the fact that it does is undeniable. The thing is, absolute nothing has never been proven, has never been seen, and I contend it can never be seen, because it would be literally an absolute nothing. That's not what is going on the quantum level. It's simply not. What it shows is Christians do not understand science. They also do not understand, according to the Bible and their creation story and their creation bullshit, their God created everything out of nothing. You have something from nothing with the creation story of the Bible. You don't have that with science, because with the Bible you don't have the quantum level. There is no mention of the quantum level in the Bible. Doesn't exist. So the day events don't match up to science. The earth was not around before the sun, even though, according to the creation account, the sun didn't show up until day 4. However, how you have evening and morning for 3 days with no sun or moon boggles my mind. But the area where you have something from nothing is creationism, not science. Then they go on to say every time you say, I don't believe or I don't think, it says all. You place your faith in yourself. Have at it. Gives a whole new meaning to it's a small world after all. It really shows how stupid this person is. This was from my video, 5 Questions for Atheists. And when I am answering questions that were asked to atheists, yes, I'm going to be giving either I don't believe in a God, or I don't think that is accurate, or I don't think so, because I am answering the questions that were posed to atheists. I am not going to speak for somebody else, or even be even dumber and try to speak in the third person as Greg doesn't believe that. That's just stupid. If I'm talking about myself and what I do or do not believe, of course I'm going to say I don't or I do, because I'm talking about myself. I would think anybody else would do that. What would a Christian be? God doesn't think so. God doesn't believe that. I don't give a fuck what your imaginary sky daddy thinks or believes. If I'm talking to you, I want to know what you think. I don't want to know what your imaginary friends think. Then at the bottom of this, they say you preach another faith, but I do not preach faith. I wouldn't even say that I preach. I talk, I communicate, I do try to educate, but preach? No, I'm not pounding a Bible. I'm not trying to dictate what anybody thinks. Giving people something to consider is not preaching. It is conveying information, giving people food for thought, but I'm not in any of my videos trying to dictate what anyone thinks or does. But you preach another faith with just as much conviction as any atheist, as any theist. No, I don't. I have passion, but I do not preach. How about everybody just shut the fuck up? Well, why doesn't this person start with themselves? They go on to say, the Marines say it like this: kill them all, let God sort them out. Well, isn't that a lovely non-Buddhist type of thought? You know, let me pull that. Our primary purpose in this life is to help others. If you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. You know, obviously that Christian didn't grasp or couldn't grasp the idea of, if you can't help others, at least don't hurt them. With their kill them all, let God sort them out. That is, I get that that's the Marine type of motto at one point, but in relation to the context of what is being talked about in this, it is moronic to include that there. Because what that is essentially making me think of is these mass shooters that are going out and just shooting everybody. Kill them all, let God sort them out. That is sadistic, that is evil. Yet this is coming from Christians, so I have to, and all of you have to understand, this is how Christians are. They are satanic in their own mindset. Not that Satanists would even be this evil, but this is the evil of Christians. Look at all the vids you made. I don't even have a fraction of the videos I've made on BitChute. I have hundreds on YouTube. What are you trying to prove and to whom? I'm trying to educate people on, one, what actually is in the Bible, and two, debunking a lot of the lies that are commonly pushed by Christians like this jackass, especially that of this idea of hell. It is something that I've gotten questions, and I've had people request videos on the subject of hell, because that is something that people have been and are concerned about because of the scare tactics done by Christians, especially young people. The idea of being tortured. Nobody wants to be tortured. Let's just get this. what should be obvious. But to Christians, it doesn't matter how they treat you. If they have to use fear and manipulation and intimidation in order to get you to kowtow to their ideas, they're all for it. They don't want the cancel culture telling them what to think, but they sure as fuck want to go around and tell everyone else what to think. The idea of burning people alive goes back to the Inquisitions. The reason Christians have shifted to having it as it's something God will do in an afterlife is it's no longer socially acceptable for Christians to be going around torturing and burning people alive. We have gotten past the Dark Ages, Christians, so what you do is you shift. That this isn't going to happen by you sick bastards, but it'll happen by your evil God after we're dead. Well, after I'm dead, I don't give a fuck. Because my central nervous system will die along with my brain, so there is no reason to think that I would feel any pain or pleasure or anything. If there is a higher type of existence, I would hope that there would be more civilized ways of conducting oneself. Torturing others is not a higher way of thinking. That is actually a lower way of thinking. That's not even at the level most humans are at. The only humans that are going around looking at who they can torture are psychopaths. But this wraps up with, I can't imagine what it's like to go through life trying to take away people's faith and hope, regardless of where it's placed. What is sad is anyone that would want to have beliefs in something that simply isn't true. Because the idea of faith, let me address this quick. Faith is a feeling, conviction, or belief that something is true or real without having evidence. The one that I find the most disgusting in the faith aspect is confidence or trust in a person or thing, the obligation of loyalty or fidelity, belief in God. I'm not obligated to anything. The idea of you're obligated to love something, no. That, to me, I can't even wrap my brain around how anybody could think you're obligated to. That is along the lines of what I would expect from a millennial of you're obligated to take care of me. No, I'm not. You don't get anything handed to you just because you're you. I'm not obligated to believe your bullshit. I'm not obligated to believe or bow to your sadistic sky daddy. I'm just not. And they have, what a sad life it must be. And then their last line would be good advice for them if they would take their own advice. How about you be you, I'll be me, and what will be, will be. If they would have had that attitude from the word go, they wouldn't have put any of this stupid shit in here. If they would live by what they're trying to push to me, we wouldn't have any of this. But that's not how Christians are. Then we have this one, that deals with people that want to try and act like a God talks to them. They start off with, and they do the YHWH, speaks directly to people all the time, including myself. Have you read the Bible? I've read the Bible. And the God of the Bible, while in those stories, and a lot of those stories, it wasn't just talking to people, it was physically interacting with them. I can go into in another video what that God could have been. The most likely explanation is an ET, possibly the Anunnaki. But they go on to say, no, hearing voices is silly. Well, I wouldn't say silly, I would say mentally ill. The spirit world, as I'm sure you're aware, occult, is far more real than the physical one, temporary physical one. Once again, this is another Christian that thinks occult means some kind of woo-woo. It doesn't. It means secret or hidden. I'm sure the thousands upon thousands of testimonies of men and women who live sane, functioning lives, who have had an encounter with the Holy Spirit or angels, can't all be schizophrenic. I didn't say all of them are. The thing is, what they can't say is that none of them are. What they also can't prove is that anyone actually encountered a holy Casper. Because you can't prove it. And I would contend it's not even biblical. There is no holy Casper mentioned in the Old Testament. Not to mention, if you go by what is in the Old Testament, which makes me wonder if they have read the Bible, that Deuteronomy 32:39, that there's no God with me type of thing from the God of the Bible. Then going on to pointing out how he kills and heals and so forth. But if there's no God with him, there's no holy Casper. There's no Jesus. There's no any of it. That the one that is both good and bad is the God. But they go on to say, of course, the opposite end of that would be the realm of false lights and powers of darkness that operate in the world. That would require evidence. I don't see any powers of darkness, to use that term. You should deeply reconsider a faith walk. No, I don't walk by lack of belief or lack of evidence and come to the end of your life, end of your own flawed and corrupted ideas, in order to find the peace that surpasses all understanding. Wait a minute. This, I get that this stupid sentiment is in the Bible, but it is stupid. There can be no peace that surpasses all understanding, because if it surpasses what is understood, then it wouldn't be understood because it surpasses what is understood. These dum-dums do not think about what they're actually saying. It's like trying to act like you know the unknowable. It makes me want to scream. Your creator who loves you. I don't see love anywhere in the Bible. Not in how the God acts, certainly not in how Jesus acts. You don't try to manipulate, coerce, threaten those that you love. Don't be one of those who live in eternal despair and agony for rejecting the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why? It's not like you Christians are embracing that. You're embracing your golden calf, Jesus. You're pissing all over the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in favor of the golden calf of your cult. He is love and he is also holy. No and no. Deuteronomy 32:39, the God openly admits that it kills, it heals, it wounds, it so forth. Both good and evil are done by it, which is also repeated in Isaiah 45:7. It just, the idea that this God is all loving. No, he's not. Read the fucking Bible. Filth or sin cannot stand in his presence. That makes no sense given that God is both good and evil, according to what is in the Old Testament. He cometh like a thief in the night. Well, perhaps this God shouldn't be looking to acting like a thief if it doesn't want to have this sin and so forth around it. Because the last time I checked, theft is a sin. The world will blame it on aliens, and like their father, the devil, same goes for the mark of the beast. And those of you that are seeing this on video, you're probably already laughing at what you're seeing. Because there is this, I'll try to pronounce it, Lucifer Lucifer ASE. I don't know. That's not a word. Then they have nanoparticles. And the abomination, Cove AIDS. COVAIDS. And I have a picture up. Not Cove AIDS. This is ludicrous. And they do try to end this as if this is a prayer. And over their Christ Jesus crap, I have bullshit. Because that's what it is. When you're responding to somebody on YouTube, BitChute, or anywhere online, your response is not a fucking prayer. Let me just, holy fuck. I'm not saying all Christians are this fucking stupid. But holy fuck. I don't know why the extreme dum-dums are attracted to me. But maybe it's, if their God does exist, it sends them to me so that I can make videos about them for your entertainment. You're welcome. I don't frickin' get it. But this whole notion is, I can't wrap my head around it. But there's also this GIF that I had found that their whole post can be summed up with the GIF obey, because that is really what they want. And the idea of a person that is pretty much the zombie type of thing and obey, that is, in a nutshell, what all of these Christians are really trying to say in all of their posts is obey. And they will use the threat of torture to try and push their obey mindset. It's evil. And the most disgusting part is they don't realize what they're doing is evil. They think it's good. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Later, people.